Hey, physical science kids, Mr. Tima here. Going to talk to you about waves today. This is part one. So, this is waves part one. And just in case you forgot what class we're in. But we got some videos in here we're going to run. So, it might be a little long. Some of the demos we will do as we live stream or if we do it in class. But in case you missed it, here we go. And we're going to start out with this first one, which is cynamics, which is the study of sound. It's a pretty good little video here.
The film you're about to see has no characters. If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter. Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound.
It's kind of crazy to watch the vibrations and seeing the everything how it reacts to waves and everything. The biggest thing is if you want to, you can go to that website right there and he'll take you through kind of the behind the scenes and everything like that. It's just kind of crazy to see what the waves are doing. And that was all for real. Nothing was changed. Our next slide has a guy that talks about the magic that they found in waves, like kind of the magic behind what's in a wave. We'll talk about this, and we'll talk about some of this as we move forward here with these little bits of notes.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. We try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. Because we believe there just had to be a better way. There had to be a better way. And we think we may have found it. I have here 2 identical tuning forks, both tuned to the note A, the note an orchestra tunes to. These forks are both made to vibrate 440 times per second. We say their frequency is 440 hertz. If I tap this fork, putting little pulses of energy into it, the second fork will also vibrate in sympathy. And if I silence this fork, we just may hear the other singing its tone. We say that I'm inducing a sympathetic resonant vibration in the second fork. It only works because both forks are tuned to the exact same frequency. Now, many of us have seen this very charming young man on the internet who shatters crystal glasses with his powerful voice. But if you watch him carefully, you'll see that first he taps the glass with his finger and listens. The glass sings its natural resonant pitch. Then he takes a deep breath and sings a loud, long note. He induces a resonant vibration in the crystal glass. The vibration grows larger and larger and larger until the glass is shattered. On the other end of the scale, we have a giant bridge made out of concrete and steel, a suspension bridge, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Cars and trucks and buses are going over it every day. And unfortunately, where they built this bridge, there was a steady wind blowing across it. And one day, this wind induces a small vibration in the bridge, hardly noticeable. But the frequency of the vibration matches the resonant frequency of some part of the bridge. And the vibration gets larger and larger and larger until the bridge collapses into the river below. A destructive resonant frequency. So on one end of the scale, we have a giant concrete and steel bridge destroyed by resonance. And on the other, we have a small crystal glass shattered. So maybe we could shatter something even smaller, something really small, something you would need a microscope to see. Maybe we could shatter a living microorganism. So maybe we could change a biological living liquid crystal with a special electronic signal. But in order to do that, we would need some kind of device. So we search the US patent database, and we find this invention by a physician, Dr. James Bear of Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's called a resonant frequency therapy device, and its purpose is to induce a resonant vibration in a living organism or cell. If I put in, say, 100 hertz, out will come 100 pulses per second. If I put in 200 hertz, we'll get 200 pulses. So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. So we try 101 hertz. We look through the scope for 5 minutes, and nothing happens. So we try 102, 103, and so on. Over the course of 15 months, we try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. The answer is you have to have two input frequencies, one low, one high, and the higher frequency must be 11 times the lower. It's what we musicians would call the 11th harmonic. When we add the 11th harmonic, we begin to shatter microorganisms like a crystal glass. These are the first videos taken. We showed these videos to our friends in the biology department. They said they hadn't seen anything quite like it. Seems to be a new phenomenon. These organisms are being shattered by our electronic signals. We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So now we attack leukemia cells. Leukemia cell number 1 tries to grow a copy of itself, but the new cell is shattered into dozens of fragments and scattered across the slide. Leukemia cell number 2 then hyperinflates and also dies. Leukemia cell number 3 then tries to make another cancer cell. The new cell is shattered and the original cell dies.
So absolutely crazy to think that from all the way to cancer cells, you could then discover something that, like sound, could be the answer to how we destroy cancer. So it's absolutely insane and unbelievably awesome to think that that is what could happen. So we won't get into all those details, but we're going to get into quite a bit of them. I'm going to quickly go over this next part. We need to understand that there's two types of waves. There are mechanical and there are electromagnetic. Now, mechanical, when you think of mechanical, you probably think of things moving, like not, cogs and things like that. So what travels through mechanical or movement, sound, just like the video, water waves do, and string waves. The other ones we talk about are light. These are electromagnetic, which are light, radio, radar, microwaves, X-rays, gamma rays. Mechanical waves require what's called a medium. Electromagnetics do not need a medium, and a medium we'll talk about here in a second. These are all examples of waves in nature. Stadium waves, light waves, and by stadium waves, that's where you stand up as it's coming around if you've ever been to a sporting event and that happens. Okay, so propagation of disturbance. What propagation means is basically causes something to move. Okay, propagation of causing something to move. Okay, it depends on the medium, it depends on the amount of energy, and something called longitudinal and transverse waves. And we'll talk about those as we move on as well. Okay, what is a medium? A medium is anything that a wave passes through, not just empty space, a vacuum like outer space. It has to be something. So, like glass is a wave. Okay, so glass allows, if you hit the side of a glass, it kind of absorbs that sound and passes it on to the next until it comes out. It might not be exactly the same sound because it actually light moves slower through glass and so does sound, but then it speeds back up. That's why if someone taps on a glass, it might not sound the same on both sides, but that sound is transmitted through. Energy. Think about energy of a wave. Look at these two waves. What's different between a high energy wave and a low energy wave? Now, you don't know all the parts of the wave yet, but you should be able to see that this one is taller or bigger, if you will. It has stretched out, it has more intensity. Well, that happens all the time. You may have seen this with music. Sometimes on old computers and stuff, they used to have, you'd play music and a synthesizer would kind of bounce. Or if you have a screensaver that comes on when music's playing, the louder the music, the bigger these sound waves are. Well, that's not just a design. That's not just a fancy little design, a picture. It's actually the actual sound waves. That's what computer people have put in there for you. So the louder it is, the more these bars will jump, the bigger these waves will get, because energy relates to what we call the amplitude, which we'll talk about. These are all things you should have learned before you got into this class. The idea of kinetic versus potential energy. Again, kinetic energy is movement energy. Potential is stored energy, and we will cover this much more later on in the class. but just to give you a little look at that right there. As one goes up, one goes down, okay, things like that. You should have learned these terms of exothermic and endothermic. We kind of talked about them earlier in the year when we talked about heating and cooling curves. Remember, endothermic heat is absorbed or is entered, it enters. Exothermic heat is given off or heat exits. I'm going to do this demo for you, but you kind of saw that demo in the video, the guy with the tuning forks. Sound requires vibrations. If there's no vibrations, there are no sounds. Again, tuning forks moving, you'll see that right there. Those are literally the movement of the tuning fork. All right, last video, and we'll be done with this. I know it's been a little long, but again, we've mostly been watching videos. It's not like I've been talking at you the whole time. So here you go, talking about the resonance frequency and how to break a glass. So here we go.
Hey, welcome to Hard Science, the show where we use just a little bit of knowledge about the world to bend it to our whim. I'm Anthony.
I'm Tara, and we have Michael from CDZA here. He's going to help us out with this experiment.
We have this dream, Michael, and we think that you, as a master of all things music, can really help us with it. Yeah.
Okay. What is
We
it?
want to break a glass with our voice. Do you think it's possible?
It is absolutely possible.
So all glass has a resonant frequency. It basically is the frequency at which an object will vibrate if it's disturbed by a stimulus, like sound wave. I don't know what the voice equivalent to a glass is. I don't get that.
That pitch you hear when you clink a glass or rub the rim of it is actually the natural frequency of the glass. And if you can manage to duplicate that pitch perfectly and loudly enough, then eventually the vibration will cause the glass to flex enough to the point where it shatters.
Fire.
I have nothing in between those two. The volume that I'm speaking at now is around 50 decibels, but in order for the glass to shatter, we're going to need at least 100 decibels, which is difficult, but not totally impossible.
It was vibrating.
It is
I saw it
vibrating. I can feel it vibrating.
Now, we've also got some really old glass back there because research shows that a small flaw in the glass is going to help us because any cracking is going to start from that flaw. Also, Tara's very shrill. I don't know if she mentioned that. What? That's you. I think we should try it again,
really nice
but we should try it with amplification.
Yeah.
Why won't you die? Oh, so I could hear the glass ringing in my ear.
Oh,
I swear I could.
it's unbreakable. It's Bruce Willis.
Time to cheat. Here we go. So our last speaker was a standard speaker, so it's got a cone on it, right, to spread sound around. What we have here is a horn driver connected to PVC pipe. This is about $7, and this is going to just direct the sound straight into the glass.
More power of voice.
Exactly. Also, we're going to just amplify the crud out of this thing.
Yes, and I've got a sound level meter here so we can make sure that the pitch is above 100 decibels, which is what we need.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a running start actually, if you guys
Okay.
don't mind.
All it took was a bunch of highly specialized equipment
And an incredible.
4 hours time.
and an incredible voice.
Thank you.
Incredible set of pipes.
Thank you.
Isn't that the best feeling?
It is the best feeling ever.
Let's break everyone's windows.
Okay, I think this experiment is over.
All right. You think that you would not feel as connected to the reaction as you do.
It breaks, and you're just like you feel powerful.
You do.
did that.
You feel like you did it with your mind.
I did it. Michael, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
It was such a pleasure to be here. And you know what? You guys are actually both honorary members of CDZA now. So congratulations.
Honorary means we don't actually get to sing. That's we
fine.
stand in
That's
the background.
preferred, actually.
So you should check out all of Michael's videos over at CDZA Music, but you're actually going to be back next week, too.
I will indeed. Yes.
We're going to have more fun with sound, so be sure to subscribe here as well. This one,
Don't
yours
touch
came-
it. Don't touch it.
I'm just interested in
Well, I leave that on there because this hard science is a pretty good thing. And if you want to check them out, they got some pretty cool videos. But that's pretty much it for me. Again, I'm sorry for the length of the video, but again, we showed 3 mini videos about five each. So sorry about that. But until next time, Mr. Tima out.